Well, hello, it's John Embrington here with my difficult dilemmas, and of course, you can find many more in my book, You the Sentencer. So, today's difficult dilemma is this the world has got a very difficult problems at the moment. There are many parts of the world that have been hugely damaged by war. Whole towns have been, the buildings destroyed, they're rubble, massive damage done by warfare. And the sad thing is, 65 million, at least 65 million people from around this war-torn world really have been pushed out, forced out of their homes by this warfare. Now, out of that 65 million, there are about 22 million refugees in the world. 22 million, at least 22 million. And there are about 10 million people wandering around the world with nowhere to live, that are completely stateless. So the dilemma is for this country, what should we do about it? Or what should the world do about it? Should we carry on and say, well, refugees not welcome here. We've got enough, thank you very much. We don't want any more refugees. Is that the right approach? How many refugees do we take? Should we just say that's every other country's problem and not ours? Is that the decent moral approach? Up to you, but... Or should we, as a world, try and act on this? I seem to recall the United Nations were a bit more, seemed to be a bit stronger years ago and seemed quite good at intervening and negotiating peace and taking action in imposing peace between warring factions and even buffer zones between different areas, and saying, look, stop fighting, we're in charge here, we're the United Nations, we want you to stop fighting. Now, about 40 years ago, one of my best friends, French guy, was in the French army. He was in the United Nations, and he was actually killed by one of these warring factions in Beirut, and very upsetting, but he was there to keep the peace. Now, so I remember that profoundly, and I remember how he gave his life to try and enforce peace. But I don't really see any countries really doing much to try and bring about peace in the world. There's a bit of negotiating going on, but some people just seem unreconcilable, and it seems almost impossible to broker peace. And my perception is the UN used to be a lot stronger, unable to impose peace before now. And it kind of meant that countries had to take a strong independent stand. Many countries as well are taking their fair share of refugees and trying to support all these millions of people who are homeless caused by war. But really, the UN needs to try, and the world needs to unite in trying to broker peace throughout the world and stop these people being made refugees. That's number one. And number two, I think that all countries really, don't you, should be taking a fair share of refugees. What's the point of sticking our heads in the sand and saying, all these poor, we don't care about the refugees and they can just stay in France and Germany, we don't want them coming here on boats or whatever. Fair comment, people shouldn't come illegally, but, there should be proper procedures and proper processes really for helping these poor people throughout the world. And the world needs to unite in sorting these problems. We can't carry on turning our back and going, we're all right, mate, or we've got enough problems of our own. The whole world needs to act on this. Don't you agree? This is a way to tackle this difficult dilemma. And to just say, you know, people with different ethnicities and that are not welcome here, and they're not really the source of the problems in the UK. There are many other reasons for them. It's not immigration that causes a lot of the problems. There are other factors, believe me. Anyway, do take care now. Bye-bye.